What's up, YouTube fam? We back again. What's happening? Had the courage to press record again. So this video, let's talk about the last 7 years since Chain Gang, since prison for me. I'll talk about why I went to prison. I mean, long story short, I went to prison because on Halloween night 2000 and a million years ago now, Halloween night 2000 and that's bad. 2008, Halloween night 2008, I robbed a delivery driver, and that was stupid as can be. It was Halloween night, I was young, I was being extra dumb, and I robbed a delivery driver, and I did my time. I did a long time. I was in Chain Gang for 6 years. I was locked up a long time, and I was in one of the worst places you could be. I was in the level 5, level 7, level 5 maximum security, psych and gang camp, Columbia CI. The majority of my time, that's where I was, at the annex. Anyways, that is very important, and I'll talk about that. I'm sure I'll talk about that a lot on the channel, especially if y'all want to hear me talk about that. If you want to hear about, who knows, we'll see where the future goes. But let's talk now about the 7 years. Well, I keep saying 8, the 7 years since Chain Gang, because I got out October 6th, 2016. It's right after I recorded the intro video to this channel, so it's still like 3:10 in the morning, and I am still tired. Forgive me. Anyways, I've been wanting to start this channel for a long time. I've been wanting to do a channel like this to motivate me to do better with my life, to get to the next goals, the next level that I'm trying to achieve quicker, by sticking more strictly to my goals, by saying things and then doing what I say, because that's the type of person I am. Also to start to develop more of a community with people out there in the world. I mean, honestly, with the fact that I went away to Chain Gang like that for so long, it's like I had a bunch of friends, went away, came back, and since then, which is what we're about to get to, is the last 7 years, I've been doing nothing but hustle, and be a father and a husband for the most part. That's it. Hustle. I haven't been chilling with anybody, haven't been hanging out with friends, even old friends, really, because I feel me personally, I'm in a period in my life where I have been hustling extra hard and sacrificing extra hard to make up for time lost when I was in Chain Gang, to try and get it to where I need to be, where I want to be, to achieve what I'm trying to achieve in life. I have very big dreams and aspirations that I will achieve. So, all right, I got released in October. And before I got released, I was at the Tarpon Springs Work Release Center for 6 months, maybe a little tiny bit under 6 months even. I was like just barely 6 months I was at the Work Release Center. While I was at that Work Release Center, I got 2 jobs. First, I started working at a place called Boyle's Backyard, which was a bar and grill in downtown Palm Harbor. And that job was like 8.1 or 8.6, I can't remember exactly, miles away from the Work Release Center. So I had to, and you have to ride a bike. I mean, you don't have to ride a bike. It's possible to have a select job where your boss can pick you up. And there's a couple other options if your job's absolutely close enough, you could walk, but that's very rare. But anyways, so I got that job, was the first job I got while I was there. And it was, like I said, over 8 miles away. That's 8 miles there, 8 miles back. So that was a trek. And then I also got a second job working at a Subway next to Tarpon Bar and Grill, I believe was the place right next to it. And that, it was Anclote and not US 19, alternate 19. But anyways, that was over 2 miles away. So, and a lot of times I worked both jobs. I was working so hard out at that Work Release Center. I mean, I've always been a hard worker, but I was getting ready to be free for the first time in over half a decade. I wanted some money when I went back to the streets. I mean, I was willing to put in that extra work. I've always blessed to be a very hard worker and have a good work ethic. So I was biking. A lot of times I'd wake up and you had to go back to the Work Release Center between jobs. So, and I'm gonna get to the topic of this video soon, back on point, but this is somewhat relevant. I would bike, so I'd wake up, go to my first job, 2 miles, bike to it, have to come back to the center, that's 2 miles back, have to be at the center for 30 minutes, I believe it was, before I could go to my second job, which was over 8 miles, work there all day, all night, and then come home and come back to the center and be back just in time before 12. And that was another 8 miles. So it was crazy. I was biking a lot. I was working hard. But when I left the work release center, I had managed to save up 5 bands. I had $5,000. So I took that money and I hung out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? When I first got released, my father bought me a vehicle. I mean, it was a used vehicle. I'm not going to say he bought me a vehicle. He had purchased a used vehicle and gave it to me, which I'm forever grateful for that. Thank you, Pap. That's amazing. That was actually, I have lots of brothers and sisters, and that was the only vehicle that I had really gotten purchased for me. I had one vehicle before, right when I turned 16, and I got my license right away because I got my learner's permit right at 15. He got me a truck in like a work trade or something, but the truck didn't make it from his house in Spring Hill to Clearwater. It made it like halfway and it locked up, and they never were ever able to get it back out of gear again. It was locked. It was done. So that doesn't really count. I had to graduate Chang'an because my brother, they got vehicles. My brother got a vehicle when he graduated high school. But anyways, you know, I had to graduate Chang'an to get mine. That's what I tell my Pat. But anyways, so I got out. I started living with my dad. And I started paying rent because that's the type of person I am. I wasn't going to stay in your house and not pay you nothing. So I was paying him rent. And I started talking to a girl through Facebook I was talking to a couple girls. You know what I mean? To be honest, I was just free. You know what I'm saying? But after a couple months had gone by, I started talking to a girl from Facebook, started getting serious. And me and her, she lived in Maryland. I ended up flying her down, and we ended up really wanting to be together, and she ended up moving down to be with me. And I mean, if I'm going to get in real detail about it, she got pregnant, and we already had plans of her moving to Florida so that we could be together. But I wasn't planning on her moving in with me in my room in my dad's house, of course, because to me that's crazy, unless you have no other option. You know what I mean? If you ain't got no option, do what you got to do and be grateful for it. But so she came down, and RIP, we actually had a miscarriage, that baby. And then I still wanted to be together. We still wanted to be together. I ended up moving her down, and she lived with me for probably not long, probably 4 months there, before we got our own place. And we rented a little it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, mobile home, little trailer on like 1.5 acres or something like that. And we were there for like a 1.5 years before we ended up moving to the place that we're at now, which is actually a home that my dad had purchased from a customer, because he owns an air conditioning company. And he had, one of his customers was selling a home, and he had ended up working out a deal to purchase that home from that customer. Now that home, he after getting the home, because it was a great deal. This was back when the market actually dipped for a while before it started to come up. A while ago. This was 2018 or something like that. It was a minute ago. But anyways, he wanted me to get the home right away, and I had just moved into the other place, and I told him I'm the type of person, I just signed this lease agreement with this other individual. I'm not going to just jump out of it to jump into this other thing. So he ended up putting a little bit of money into fixing this place, like he had planned to already, and renting it out until my lease ended with the place that I was at, and then I ended up picking up this home from him, which actually. And I am grateful for that, and thank you, my pal. But at the same time, it was a symbiotic thing, because this home was starting to have incredible issues already. It's a old double wide, 1, 2, 3. It's got 4 bedrooms now, but it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The floors were going like this. The floor started doing waves. It was insane. I had to cut up all the floors, the subflooring. I had to replace all that and do so much. It's been insane. I have put a huge amount of money into it. Just last year I have, but and it's just a crazy amount. It's hard work too. But anyways, that's all off topic. So I moved. We got pregnant again. Had a baby at that first place. Moved in here. Bought this place off him. Took over the purchase of this place off him or whatever. And then got pregnant again. I started a channel. I started the YouTube channel Bulbamon, which I haven't been active on for years, but I plan on getting back at it. I do very much have plans for getting on Bulbamon in the near future. Not too far. Not too distant future. And I've recently started, like, not even probably 2 months ago, I started a new YouTube channel, Pody Products Paint Studio, which is having to do with my business more so, but it has to do with Warhammer 40K. If you like Warhammer, I love Warhammer. But, so you can check that out if you want. Anyways, so now you got a little bit of background, you know what I'm saying? So we moved here, we had another baby, and I've been actually on Bulbamon, if y'all want to go check it out, right? This is one of the main reasons that I hadn't posted on Bulbamon in years now, my Pokemon channel, is because I invested a large amount of money and time into building up a card collection that I was getting graded with a grading service with Beckett, BGS, and I was supposed to get it back in X amount of time, and I was going to turn around and flip it and make a bunch of money off of my investment, you know what I'm saying, and be able to go from there. But I ended up, it took forever to get the cards back to the point where the market had tanked, and the grades that I received on the cards were like a lot lower than what I was expecting. And it was a real kick in the face, because if I had gone with PSA instead of Beckett, I would have made easily 2-3 times the amount of money that I ended up making from that huge long investment. So it just kind of put a salty taste in my mouth not towards Pokemon, because I absolutely love Pokemon and I play Pokemon TCG on the little Game Boy still all the time to let my mind go. But anyways, so what am I even talking about? So that, right? That event set me back. That was one major hurdle that set me back from starting this channel that I'm wanting to start right now, because this channel is supposed to be like I'm leveling up in my life. I finally reached a point in my life through my work and my sacrifice and my smart decisions that I'm getting ready to level up my position big time. My whole life is getting ready to soon change. I'm getting ready to have a bunch of life accomplishments that I've been wanting to have for a long time, and big ones anyone would like to have. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, for example, getting my dreads back. Right now, I just got long hair, but I had dreads before I went to Chain Gang, because I'm not going to be throwing up signs on YouTube, but I'm from Wake City, Florida, born and raised. And I was also raised in the dungeon, don't get me wrong. But I had wicks, I had dreads, and I had to cut my dreads off when I went to Chain Gang. And I haven't gotten dreads back since. Now, I haven't had a haircut since I was at that work release center. So it's been a long time I've been growing my hair. My hair is quite long. But it's ready to get locked up. I didn't lock it up because I was working for... Now, this is another video I'm going to do on the channel. I was working just before Christmas, 5 days before Christmas that just passed. I had a whole... "Oh, you're fired. Oh, I quit" type moment from the job that I was working. I have my own business doing eBay. You know what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong. I have multiple eBay stores, and that's been my main source of income for a while, for years. But still, it was a major source of income was my HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning installation specialist, which is what I was, because I'm retired, quit from it now. Retired, fired, quit, right? But which means that I would only go to jobs where I was doing installs, only installs. I worked installs, sometimes duct work, but usually it was air conditioners doing installs. Anyways, and that was for my dad's company, for my pap's company. Well, that's another story. The whole fired/quit right before Christmas. That's another video, should I say. All right, so I got out of chain gang. To get back on topic, I got out of chain gang. I moved to the one crib, moved here. Then I had 2 babies. Then the thing happened with I've had money things that have been insane setting me back between have to buy a new vehicle. Not a new vehicle, but I mean a new used vehicle, new to me, 3, 4, 5 grand, whatever. That vehicle died. Then I had to buy another vehicle, so that vehicle had to be nicer, and it had to have 3-row seating because my wife was pregnant again for the 3rd time. So that was 10 bands for that vehicle. Actually, that was almost 11. And just, you know how it is. That's how life is. It's just one bit. It's been, especially if you own a home and you're a homeowner, and if it's an older home, you know what I mean? It seems to absorb money. So you got a bunch of kids. And so when you're trying to achieve these next level goals and you keep having these obstacles in your way, these major ones, it's just like, it can be, of course, it can be, off-putting. It can try to kill your spirits. It can try to get you down. It can be exhausting, frustrating, saddening, maddening, you know what I mean? All the above. But I am finally past that point, pretty much. When I got fired, I had already talked to my fellow employees and my PAP. They knew that I was going to be retiring in the next 2, 3, 4 months from then. I wanted to be totally retired for sure by my birthday on April 12th. So, but I wasn't counting on that source of income, that major source of income being completely cut off, you know what I mean, right before Christmas, even when of course, if you got kids, a lot of us we stretch ourselves out to buy as much as we can for our kids within a reason, you know what I mean, and still pay the bills, right? But still be able to put it in the air, you know what I'm saying? But, so I have a 3rd baby now. It was a beautiful boy, son. Here I am. Last year, I had to spend a large I do have an employee for my company. My dog, Merritt. What up, Merritt? He's also one of my best friends, my brother. I've known him a very long time. And I had to invest a large amount of money into the property in order to fix a living situation for my dog. That all worked out. Everything, you know what I mean? Those details are irrelevant, but the point is it costs a lot of money. And it was a good thing, you know what I mean? It was a worthy sacrifice. It was something, if you want to get where you're trying to get, you have to make sacrifices. You have to cut your expenses, live within your means. You know what I mean? I'm not a financial advisor professional, but I'm saying you have to cut your expenses, you have to live within your means, and you have to sacrifice on certain things in order to get to what you're trying to achieve. You have to. So that happened. But now, and I had my store, I had a very large amount of active inventory in my store at the time. And in between all my stores, my eBay stores. And I came across a very large purchase that I wanted to make, but it was for an inventory. It was a type of inventory that's got kind of a slow sell rate, and I'm in Florida, and that's all the way. That boy was all the way in Washington State, the far corner of the country, right? And it was 3 pallets of stuff. So I ended up getting screwed over by FedEx because it was supposed to be $1,700 or something for FedEx freight shipping. I ended up paying almost $3,400 was their final bill, and there was no fighting. I mean, I just didn't I fought with it a little bit. It was terrible. I'll never again probably use that service. I don't see myself. I was going, if I knew it was going to be that much, I would have flown my dog Merrick out there, had him rent a U-Haul and drove it back or something. I'd have worked something out that would have been cheaper, you know what I mean, and quicker. I wouldn't have had to wait so long to get my stuff. But I took a huge amount of my inventory, my active inventory on my stores, and I put it up for auction, and I let it go cheap to be able to come up with the funds to pay for that large purchase. And that put things tight for me and my company and my family. And then on top of that was when I found out that I needed to do something for my dog where he was going to be living. That was going to cost huge chunk of money too. So that put extra strain on the situation. So I've been trying to get over that and get past that financially and recover the company up to a good size, large size since then. And that was a year ago. I made that purchase halfway through November of last year, 2020, not 2024, 2023. So now it's been 14 months. So it's been a long time I was dealing with that to get back to where I am at this position today. Oh, that's what I was saying about my dreads is because I did air conditioning, I didn't want to get dreads back because when you do air conditioning, if you're going under mobile homes and going attics with fiberglass and mud and bugs and mastic and whatever else, you don't want to get that stuff, certain glues, you don't want to get it in your dreads and not be able to get it out. I still have my dreads from before I went to Chain Gang. And they still have a little bit of mastic in one of them, which is a sealant that you use for air conditioning, for sealing connections in that dread. So now that I'm free of air conditioning, which don't get me wrong, air conditioning has made me a bunch of money, but it's been very hard, very, very hard work. And I was starting to have negative health issues, even health effects. I was, not to be gross or TMI, but I was starting to develop, I was getting... from breathing in all the crap I was breathing in and not wearing a good mask enough or properly, I was developing nasal infections. And I would have a nasal infection for 3, 4, 5 months. I'd have them and then it would go away for a month and come back. I was sick a lot. I was starting to get sick a lot. I developed nasal polyps in my nasal cavity. It was terrible. It's been terrible. And it just gradually got worse, it seemed. And so since then, I haven't had, since I stopped working for him, right before I stopped working, I started taking some antibiotics and got rid of the nasal infection that I had. And then I got fired/quit on December 20th, I believe it was. Yeah, it was definitely December 20th, right before this last Christmas, 2024. And I haven't had a problem since, thank God, with my nasal cavity. But so I'm getting ready to get my dreads back. I retired from air conditioning. I was getting ready to retire from air conditioning. I just had to do it a couple months early, really, is kind of pretty much what it amounts to. But retiring from air conditioning is something that I was talking about doing. I was supposed to do that when I got my cards back from Beckett. And that was, you can go look on the channel Bulbamon. That was probably, I don't even know how long ago. That was a long time ago. That was 3 years ago. That was a long time ago. And so it's it seems sometimes, if, try not to dwell on it, but that one vital, stroke of bad luck of not going with PSA X, and then 2, get it taking so long to get my cards back. Why? Oh, man. That was brutal. Because... if you look at it like that, I was supposed to retire from air conditioning years and years ago. So all the work I've been doing between here and then, not to mention all the, I've been getting older and there's people that I want to help out there. And those people haven't been getting helped. You know what I'm saying? But I'm finally to that point. I have finally built up my inventory through sacrifice and steady work. And what I mean by sacrifice is not going out partying, drinking, or not to, that's probably a bad way to put it, because that makes it sound like all I want to do is party and drink, and that's not accurate at all. But not to go to the movie theater, or even take my kids. I could be taking them all the time out places, to go to Busch Gardens, or to go to Lowry Park Zoo, or Zoo Tampa, or whatever they call it, to go to all kinds of places that you can take your kids. You know what I mean? Just take them to go out to restaurants more. Me and my wife haven't had a date, just me and her, because we don't have the help like that. It's just been me and her. We haven't spent a single night away from our kids, not one time, other than when she was in the hospital having more kids. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't had a single date, just me and her, since we've had kids. And my one son's 6. So it's crazy, right? But I'm reaching that point. I've been making that sacrifice, not going out and doing these things that I would like to do, living life, you know what I mean? YOLO, all that stuff. I haven't been doing those things, but that's because I've been reaching financial goals. I've been paying the bills, having a little tiny bit of money left over to maybe order a thing of sushi or something like that once a month. Other than that, reinvest all my money back into my company, period. And it's finally gotten me to the point where I am today. And so, I mean, that's pretty much the last 8 years. There have been things that have happened, terrible things that have happened. People that have died that I love very much, RIP. My mama, shit, she was only 49. Terrible. And I know I'm not the only one that has lost somebody, that's lost their mama young. You know what I mean? Drugs are a horrible thing, and that's what it was. It's terrible. It's crazy. I hope everything is great with y'all out there. This vid, I know it was really just me talking about some of my life experiences and some stuff, but that'll help you to get a little bit more understanding of where I'm coming from. You feel me? I hope everything's great with y'all out there in the streets. I wish you nothing but the absolute best, and hope to see you next time. Maybe like, subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. And until next time, peace.